Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here with these excellent colleagues. One thing that I wanted to tell you is that I have a bad back, and if I'm making any faces, it's not you, it's me. And if I'm not making any sense, it's not me, it's couple muscle relaxing stuff that we are going to be kicking in a little while. One of the things that I was very surprised, and that's something that I haven't heard until now been mentioned by Victoria, is that when we were talking about putting this together, at some point we were thinking about maybe 25 participants. Then we kind of bumped it up to 50 participants. And a couple of weeks ago, I called Vicky and said, Houston, we have a problem. We have 75 participants that would like to attend our small gathering. So that's how I call it. Thank you very much for coming today. I'm hoping that you stick around, and that you are going to be part also of our conference. If you are not staying, please think twice. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen during the next 2 days. My presentation is going to be from the perspective of the umbrella organizations, and I'm going to be a little bit critical of what we have been able to accomplish so far. So our sector has been talking about collaboration for a long time. Every time that we are out there, and before I start the conversation here, I was just outside and having a conversation on how is that we are going to collaborate in this project. When we were sitting this morning, I was also looking out there for another ways to collaborate. There's our nature now. Every time that we go out there, we talk about ways to collaborate. But this construct has become meaningless at times, in particular when we're talking about research collaborative efforts, which have been challenged by an emphasis on theoretical rather than applied research, limited sector inclusion, and a marked regional imbalance in research capacity. I'm going to talk a little bit about the role of the umbrella organizations with research. As you probably are aware, provincial umbrella organizations contribute to the advancement of the sector by facilitating organizational and sector-wide capacity building, and by engaging in research to develop evidence and best practices, among other strategic goals. I'm going to be sticking to only these two strategic goals for the purpose of this presentation. Despite the fact that umbrella organizations don't usually carry formal and unique research initiatives, umbrella organizations play an important role in coordinating and supporting research in response to the needs of the sector. Also, a more dynamic and relevant role for the umbrella, at least in terms of coordination and engagement with research partners, has been partly due to the void left by the Metropolis project that was a project across Canada. In an effort to start a more wide conversation and dialogue with different partners, in 2013, ASA hosted the first Interaction Forum. That forum was pretty much the foundation for something else that came a year later. Last year, CAC decided to replicate that model across Canada. Both events brought together stakeholders from multiple sectors in order to facilitate an intersectoral conversation regarding settlement services in the province. The input from the participants resulted in a comprehensive understanding of the commonalities among various sectors. Analysis of the findings provided by the different sectors allowed for the identification of common themes, being collaboration and research, two of the most largely discussed commonalities. Despite the fact that participants agree that collaboration can be seen as a very polarizing term that produces skepticism and concern over its practical application, the majority of the sectors felt strongly about the need for collaborative research endeavors. It was pointed out that research should require more sophisticated data collection and analysis, as well as a more highly developed knowledge partnership in order to enhance results. As part of this, focus needs to be shifted to outcomes, being the development of program evaluation tools and rigorous implementation of these tools a key element for success. Program evaluation was a common theme discussed among participants, and it was unanimously agreed upon that there is a pressing need for standardized data and methodologies in analysis of the outcomes to better address the sector and the needs of the newcomers. Some of the challenges that we're facing. Let's start with the umbrellas. The umbrellas that the members have found in a very well-established and newly formed research consortiums, their main strategic allies, P2P and Immigration Research West have contributed to our work and the work of the agencies that we represent. Despite their sincere efforts, the relationship has proved to have some challenges in developing a more comprehensive methodology for engagement and prioritization of our very dynamic environment. The rationale for development of research suggests that the research inquiries have been advanced by actively engaging a variety of disciplines that examine and theorize different aspects of the settlement and interaction sector. In other words, research inquiries have been based on scholars' primary disciplines and their agendas and how can they contribute to the advancement of the sector. This has positively led to cross-disciplinary theoretical insights that have definitely nurtured the sector. However, this has also unintentionally resulted in a long list of theoretical research studies with very little room for practical applications. In terms of sector inclusion, partnership formation and engagement with the sector and with the prevailing research protocols used by the research partners have suffered from a critical flaw. They have neglected the importance of fully inclusion of the sector in the development of the research design and what the sector considers to be critical for the advancement of the sector and the improvement of the program offerings. The involvement of the sector at times have been limited to membership on advising committees and with very little influence on the development and final products. In sum, our sector still faces a gap in the provision of relevant research and technical expertise and pure theoretical-based research. While we can easily recognize that research value inquiries that enables them to come up with new theoretical developments and conceptual insights into the non-profit sector, we practitioners see the research contribution as a way to achieve social change. Despite the fact that there are different and valid opinions among research partners, our sector, and our funding partners about what useful research looks like, we can all agree that research initiatives should aim to reach applied research with capacity building in our sector. Funders at all levels have been increasingly requiring the measurement of program outcomes as a mandatory prerequisite for funding. Probably you still remember that we were putting together CFPs during the last summer, and one of them, or the requisite, was pretty much add your logic model in a way that you are going to be measuring your achievements. Our sector is still in the process of acquiring the expertise to design program evaluation using scientific research protocols, while experiencing hard times recruiting trained staff who can conduct comprehensive research that will lead to valid findings. Moreover, and to add to the already complex situation, for organizations with diverse program offerings, outcome measurement often does not provide a complete assessment of the organization's overall success in accomplishing its mission, particularly when it's focused on individual programs. Moreover, access to research expertise needed has been limited due to the concentration of researchers and research initiatives in Eastern Canada, unfortunately. In a report prepared by the Center of Excellence for Research on Immigration and Settlement, CERIS, in 2014, and I think that Julie Rollet was part of that, the report synthesizes and provides a list of research in progress, key research institutions, and research in 5 areas. And what is kind of discouraging is that all key research progress are being carried by Ontario, led by Rice University and York University. CERIS also lists 11 research institutions in Ontario. Manitoba and Quebec have 2, BC 1, and Alberta 0. And when we are talking about key research, the list is even more concerning. Ontario has 47, compared to 1 in Alberta, 5 in British Columbia, 1 in Manitoba, and 2 in Saskatchewan. What's funny about this is that the only person who was listed in that list is Professor Jim Friederichs. And Professor Jim Friederichs retired 2 years ago from the University of Calgary. Well, Immigration Research West, to some extent, has intended to continue with the work of the Metropolis Prairies in terms of the regional representation. We haven't seen any kind of impact, at least in the terms of the number of key researchers, as compared to its predecessor. The Metropolis Prairies at some point was praising the number of research that they had. They had 137 research across the Prairie provinces. Right now, since there's no Prairie, I don't know what happened to all those researchers. Let me jump here. So our sector has shown a strong desire to collaborate on seeking new and innovative problem-solving techniques, including evidence-based practice. We have dealt with limited numbers of research experts to address some our pressing and urgent matters by contracting out the service of private consultants. The goal now is to establish a structure to connect research with end users in our sector to help provide them with reliable and evidence-based research. We should then be adopting a more sustainable model that puts a premium on capacity building for the sector. I think that I will end there. I still have another page, but I don't think that I have time, right? So thank you very much.